All in, they're often racing. So jumping away, the trip 9 furlongs, the Bet 365 Fielden Stakes then underway, and towards the far side Canberra Legend jumped well, so too did Killybegs Warrior in the orange. Between those two, Galactic Jack also nicely away. Blancheland is in a very close 4th, and Intinzo pulling hard in 5th place, now going 4th, but he's very, very free indeed. Pace very steady. Captain Wurtzbach well up with the pace. Bold Act is next, and further back to Colsai, and at the rear Regal Honor just about last. It's a steady early gallop with Killybegs Warrior leading the way narrowly from Galactic Jack in 2nd place. Blancheland is in 3rd. Captain Wurtzbach has drawn alongside Intinso, who's buried away amongst runners, and Canberra Legend racing up on the wide outside. Bold Act is with those, and then there's only 1 length to the rear too. Colside just a fraction ahead of Regal Honor. The runners then continue their way then down towards the half-mile marker, and up front Killybegs Warrior leading narrowly to Galactic Jack, Blancheland, Intinzo, and Canberra Legend, and Captain Wurtzbach, who's now just under pressure for the first time. Bold Act and Regal Honor, the Godolphin pair, together in rear, and Colsai is travelling strongly enough now at the back end of the field. Intinzo's under pressure, not finding a great deal, dropping away in fact, and now Killybegs Warrior leads the way from Canberra Legend. Colsai making lovely progress over on the far side. Regal Honor this side staying on nicely ahead of Galactic Jack. Bold Act is going to be firmly beaten, but Colsai may be a big price, but he's making an even bigger impression here, Colsai. They're trying to come back at him though. Canberra Legend together with Killybegs Warrior. Colsai, Canberra Legend eating up the ground late. Canberra Legend this side getting up to win it. Canberra Legend beat Colsai, Killybegs Warrior, and in 4th place, Regal Honor.
Canberra Legend has just won the Fielden in real taking fashion. Daniel Muscutt was on board. Congratulations. First of all, he's a gorgeous looker, isn't he?
Yeah, thank you. No, he's one we've taken our time with, and he's coming to fruition now. But I was really taken with how professional he was in the prelims, and he's gone about his business very well.
The one that's come from Newcastle to the Craven meeting, that professionalism was marked really, wasn't it? Because it's a very different occasion. I know it's not packed here, but it's still much more buzzy.
Yeah, for sure. And no, he didn't bat an eyelid. You wouldn't know that he'd only had 1 lifetime start, and jumped very smart, and it just took 100 yards to just get him back and in behind the Jeff Smith horse. But after that, he was in cruise control most of the way, and handled the dip well for a big horse. But I was fortunate. I was in a nice position to get him rolling on my terms, and I think that's paid dividends. He's hit the rising ground and stayed on really well.
It's interesting you say he handled the dip well, because from the outside I was thinking that was the only bit where he seemed to be sort of treading water and then finished really strongly. So from your perspective, you felt it was fine?
He just very much felt like he was organising himself. He didn't feel like he was losing much momentum, but he is a big boy, and he could have been more uncomfortable than he was. So I was happy, and I knew that once he got himself organised, if we were within a couple of lengths of him, he'd stick his head down and guts it out, and he did.
He really did. And would you like to be going up in trip with him next, do you think?
I would think so. That would probably be the logical step, but I'll leave that to James and the owners.
Okay, well, it's James I'm going to go and grab next, so I'll congratulate you. Thank you very much, Danny. Well done.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
I've just been complimenting James Ferguson on Canberra Legend. A fantastic looking horse. He's quite stamped by Australia, don't you think?
Absolutely, you know, and it was quite evident early doors with this horse, you know, as when Mark bought him for the sales for Bonho, that this was certainly a horse to look after, and in terms of, you know, he was always going to be better at 3. And I've just been delighted to see his progress especially through the winter. Obviously the run at Newcastle was pretty impressive. He'd have learnt plenty from that, and for a horse that was so inexperienced, he showed a lot of professionalism today. Obviously he was making a bit of a noise in the pre-parade ring, but other than that, you know, it was almost as if he'd run 5 or 6 races.
It's interesting you mentioned the noise in the pre-parade ring, because when he came into the parade ring, I was really impressed by his mentality, bearing in mind this is just his 2nd racecourse start.
Absolutely, you know, he's you know, hopefully a very exciting prospect going forward, and you know, this is a big occasion for a horse just on its 2nd start. You know, there's lots of people here, and he took it very well.
He went through the race really nicely. He was just trying to get himself organised in the dip, and then he finished really strongly. Is that how you saw the race as well? Absolutely.
I think if I haven't seen a replay, but Danny always looked fairly happy, you know, and he he always rides. You always know how he always rides with a lot of confidence, and I think the horses, feel that confidence. And he never looked like he was panicking. And we actually brought him here the other day just to get him into the dip, and he basically worked exactly the same. He was easy into the dip, but then as soon as he hit the rising ground, he really lengthened. So the jockey knew that he was going to develop the race in that way, and he rode him exactly how he found him.
Now, this horse has got entries in the 2000 Guineas, the Dante and the Derby. Would you be inclined to head more in a Dante direction than a 2000 Guineas direction?
At the moment, having watched that race and listened to Danny, it would probably seem logical that he certainly wants further in time. There's only one Guineas, and to be quite honest, I cannot tell you until I've spoken to the owner. But I can see him certainly staying further.
But it's clear that if you're not dismissing the Guineas out of hand, that you think this is a horse of a very large amount of ability.
Yes, I'd say I'd like to think so. It's a joy to train a horse of this calibre for an owner that's been supportive of me since I started.
You've had some, in your very short career today, you've had some very good horses. Is this perhaps the one that's excited you most?
Going forward, he's very exciting. But I've been very lucky, and I've had some good horses, and let's just hope we can continue on this path going forward.
How far do you think he can stay?
I think he could get a mile and a half. And then I'll let you know in July.
Congratulations, well done. I look forward to see what you do with him.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Lydia.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.